Hello and welcome to Cotton Patch TV. I'm Melinda and I'm sharing with you my passion for English paper piecing. It's where you take a piece of paper, you wrap some fabric around it, and you hand sew it together. Today's video is going to introduce you to the Lucy Boston journey. We're going to get to that in a sec. I am actually going to do a lot of housekeeping work ahead of time. And because there's so much, I'll let you know it's an open note exam. I have a cheat sheet and I am going to be glancing down at it. So please bear with me. So that being said, let's start with what is Lucy Boston? Lucy Boston is actually an old pattern. She was a woman who created this pattern, and believe it or not, it's one of the top 10 reproduced patterns in the world. It is a block that has stood the test of time, and it's been on my bucket list, and I've always wanted to do it. So I am wrapping you into the journey of completing it with me. It'll be a many-month thing. We'll do this slow because that's what English paper piecing is. So I want you to feel comfortable with going slow. There is this book, this Lucy Boston book that we carry in the Cotton Patch. It has some good things in it. First up is you get to see what the quilt looks like in its entirety. Also, it will have things like the just kind of pencil sketch of what the blocks look like, as well as things that you could do with each individual block. It also does things like talk about doing it by hand and by machine and hybrids of that. I am only teaching hand piecing. If you want to do it with your machine, I promise you no judgments, but do whatever makes you happy. Again, hand sewing. What this video is not is I'm not going to show you how to do the hand sewing. I would recommend you going back to my earlier videos of how to sew. Now let's talk about the block layout. We use hexi papers for this, and it's 24 hexi papers. To me, the Lucy Boston block is broken up into 4 quadrants. First being these 4 in the center, next being these 4 that kind of arrow out. The third quadrant are these pairs that go around, and the fourth is also these pairs that go at an angle. I will have just the black and white version without my colorful drawings on it as a PDF in the download below. So feel free, if you want to use it to help you with the layout, you totally could do that. So given that, I placed certain constraints on myself when I was putting the bundle together. Because of this layout, chose and constrained myself to 4 fabrics for each section. So of those 4 fabrics, I gave you enough to complete 4 blocks. I wanted to show you the variations if I did 1 fabric showing you what it looked like in the center, where I chose that same fabric to be here, that fabric again here, and the fabric there. So you could see that you could use a fabric in each of these positions. At no time do you have to make those 4 blocks. This is just showing you examples of what could be done, and do whatever works for you and what you like the best. Also, in terms of my constraints, I used a curated fabric. So what that means is I went to various lines of fabric and pulled from there. This is a line of fabric, which I love. It is What the Bird Said by Corey Dantini. So I have a couple examples up here where I took a line of fabric where I'm not constrained by 4 and it's not across many different designers, and what you could do with it. I am not creating bundles out of fabric lines, but from time to time I will point out new lines that come into the Cotton Patch that work really well with English paper piecing. All of them work well with paper piecing, but if there's more of a kaleidoscope aspect that you want to go and play with patterns and how it all flows, I'll be pointing those fabrics out to you. So these videos are about how I approach selecting fabric. So I will tend to have 1 fabric that starts it all because I just love it. And then I'll talk about why I paired different fabrics with it. We're also going to be going through and I will show you how I found each motif that I used in the various blocks so you could find them easier. And I will be using certain tools in the different videos. One I will be using every time is your handy dandy plastic template with the 3/8 inch edge that you've washi taped. And again, I recommend looking at the fussy cutting or focus cutting video that I did prior with Tula Dots where I prepped this. I'll also be using the air erase marker from time to time, a new one, the Micron pen, and some kind of pointer. So in this case, the two I have, but are not limited to these pointers, so I can help focus in on what you see when we get into the nitty-gritty of it. So over time, I hope with these videos, you'll start feeling more comfortable of recognizing things that will go well in a Lucy Boston, but also creating things across a mix of fabrics. So a few more notes before we get started. One is you already heard me stumble over fussy cut and focus cut. I will be using them interchangeably. They mean exactly the same thing. It's finding an image that you are intentionally choosing to put in on your honeycomb. The other thing is you will be what's called Swiss cheesing your fabric. You are going to be cutting lots of honeycombs out of it. And when you eventually hold it up, there's going to be holes all randomly around it. As long as you have like a 1.5, 1 3/4 inch square somewhere in that mix, you will be using it again, I promise you, in these series of videos. You may even find you have enough fabric to do more honeycombs that you may want to impart in future blocks. So keep your fabric. And I got through my housekeeping, and with that, let's get started at looking at the fabric.